All right, shalom, shalom. It's Brother Tazadak here with Israel. Before I get started, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Kakadash, and double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Today we're going to go into Joel chapter 2, going into the Hebrew. So, Lord willing, you're edified, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. So let's get right into it, right? It's Joel chapter 2. And let's get into the prologue. Take a look at the prologue for Joel chapter 2. Actually, we're going to skip all that, right? Because we know that this chapter is speaking about the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? The ICBM missiles which will hit upon America, Babylon the Great, via the day of the Lord, which is great and very fearful, like it says in this chapter. So there's a lot to cover, so we're just going to get right into it, right? Joel chapter 2 and verse 1. Salakia. Satan's trying to hinder the lesson, so let's just try to open a new window. Maybe get out of this window. And just bear with me. There we go. Shalom, shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatam. Shalom to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000, then the great multitude, which will receive this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that has been hidden after over 2,000 years. Right, the remnant of the nation of Israel, which consists of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are returned to the Most High God, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, in righteousness and in truth. Right? Joel chapter 2, right? And verse 1. Which reads, Blow the shofar in Zion and sound the alarm in the mount of my holiness. May they tremble all the inhabitants of the earth, because it has come the day of the Lord, because it is near. Which reads the Kwaiwa, Shapar, Ba Tazayawan, Waha Rayai, Wa Bahar Wadashia, Yaragazwa, Kal Yashabia, Ha Rataza, Kaya Ba'a, Yawam, Yahweh, Kaya Kwarab. Verse 2. It is a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and obscurity, like the dawn spread forth upon the mountains. A people great and mighty, like unto which that has not been from the days of old, or from everlasting, from the everlasting. And after them there will not be again, even unto the years of generation and generation. Which reads, Yawam Chashak Wa Apala Yawam Ainan Wa Irapal Kashahar Parash Al Haharyam I'm Rab Wa Itazawam Kamawa La'a Na Haya Man Ha Awalam Wa Haryawa La'a Yasap Ad Shanya Dawar Wa Dawar. What is that talking about? The missiles, right? Thermonuclear fire, which is coming to America, Babylon the Great. But first, you got to have Revelation 13 to 16, the charagma issued to both small and great, rich and poor, right? Then you're going to have all hell break loose, martial law, FEMA camps, right? Uh, new beast newly created, like it says in the book of Second Esdras, right? Which is recently, I believe that was in Miami. They said that there was aliens walking through uh, one of the squares or center squares, or and I ran into a post about that on Twitter, not Twitter, but let's check it out real quick. Formerly known as Twitter. It says allegedly 8 foot to 10 foot alien creatures were spotted in Miami Mall. There's the only footage taken of the creatures. Now this doesn't look like the same location as what the video said, so I don't think this is legit. But the Lord said He's gonna have newly created creatures, right? Let's see if we can look that up. That alleged video.
All right, look. See, look, y'all thought I was playing. I know y'all see those lights. Look at them. Not the little ones because my little mirror thing scratched up. I know you see those right there.
Unidentified flying object, spotted in Miami 2024. Miami Mall, alien incident.
Of alien sightings at Bayside Marketplace.
On January 1, 2024, at around 9 p.m., the Bayside Marketplace in Miami, Florida, was surrounded by over 60 police cars, and people were informed that it was due to a fight between several teenagers. However, the police's explanations were clearly unconvincing, and several mainstream media outlets echoed the police's statements. Many netizens believed that a very unusual event was being covered up. At the same time, multiple eyewitnesses shared videos on social media and reported a shocking scene. A 8 to 10 ft tall, semi-transparent, gray creature appeared near the mall. These videos and multiple eyewitness testimonies quickly spread across the internet and caused a stir.
Down here or every night, but still, look at that.
You need to get the boys.
Videos from an outdoor mall in Miami stoked bizarre claims that aliens had touched down in Florida. Police later reacted to the rumors.
The noise, isn't it?
The rumors began when a video surfaced on the internet that purportedly showed a huge figure walking outside Bayside Marketplace, a downtown Miami shopping center, as dozens of police cruisers with flashing lights encircled it. On Monday night, over 60 police vehicles descended upon the Bayside Marketplace in downtown Miami in order to break up a brawl between a group of teenagers who were reportedly hurling fireworks at each other in the open-air shopping mall. The heavy police deployment to address the case raised suspicions among the social media users.
Did you see it? Though when it was over here, it looked so crazy.
Those who analyzed the footage of the Miami Mall incident formed the theory that an alien,
Right, so it's gonna get crazy in 2024. Right, Lord said He's gonna bring right great plagues, right, great death, right, and through the Spirit, right, we see these things coming to pass, right. So now let's move on, right? But so it says there will not be a day, nothing like it has ever happened, it shall never happen again. It's not talking about, right, a time which has not been since the foundation of the world, which is Jacob's trouble. This is actually talking about the missiles, the great spectacle the Lord is going to perform in throwing down America, Babylon the Great in 1 hour, right? Now you got some camps and even in GMS, some say that it's going to be many and many and many and many an innumerable a great amount of ICBM missiles, right? But according to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, it's going to be a few of them, but it's going to have the power of many and many and many and many multitudes of ICBM missiles, right? Just to correct that, right? And so this is what the Lord is saying, right? That's what it says in the Book of Revelation. Let's get that. Slovakia. Revelation chapter 9 and 16 says, "And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them." Verse 17 says, "And thus I saw the horses in a vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and jacinth, and brimstone. The heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone." Right? 200,000, right? That's talking about the ICBM missiles. It's not actually going to be 200,000, right? It's going to be the power of 200,000 uh, uh, thermonuclear warheads. Verse 18 says, "By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire, by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt." Right? So that's what it's talking about, right? That is the, um, like it says here, a vast, enormous horde, right? Nothing like it has ever happened because, right, it's going to be a great spectacle. Basically, literally, America Babylon the Great is going to all look like a giant lake of fire, right? Yeah, you've seen, right, particular places like Hiroshima when Esau dropped the hydrogen bomb, but a whole continent that's turned into fire. That's what it's talking about, right? It's going to be a great spectacle, like it says in Book of Revelation. The merchants, the mighty men of these other nations will stand afar off, and they're going to say, "How is the great city thrown down?" Right? Revelation or Joel chapter 2 and verse 3. Their turning is to consume is a consuming fire, because that's how the missiles will move via the tracking systems and the ignitions, right? The ignition system, right? And it says, "And behind them there is a there is it an inflaming fire or an inflaming flame," right? Which says, "Like the Garden of Eden is the land before them," right? Or unto their turning, right? And why does it say that? Because um, America Babylon the Great is known as a fruitful place, right? Where the delicacies and merchants and scarlet and threads and right and its epitome, America Babylon the Great was a great merchant city, and it still is in a sense, right? So this picture that the prophet Joel received is he saw the missiles heading towards America Babylon the Great, which is compared into a fruitful place, right? but it's also talking about the before and after effects of the thermonuclear missiles, right? And it says, and behind them is a wilderness of desolation, and even a survivor there will not be in it, right? Which reads, Lapanyawa, Akala, Ash, Wa Haryawa, Talahat, Lahaba, Kagan, Aidan, Ha Rataza, Lapanyawa, Wa Haryawa, Ma Dabar, Shema, Wagam, Palyata, La'a, Hayatha, Lawa. Joel chapter 2 and verse 4. Like a vision of horses is their appearance, and like horsemen, so they run. Ka Mara'ah, Sawasium, Mara'awa, Waka Parashium, Khan Yaratazan. Verse 5. Like a voice of chariots upon the summit of the mountains, they skip. Like the voice of a flame of fire, they consume stubble. Like a people mighty, they are set in order unto battle. Kakwal Marakabath al Ra'ashya ha Haryum Ya Rakwadam Kakwal Lahab Ash Akala Kwash Ka'aim Itazawam Iraka um, Malachama. So that is their appearance, right? Them um, going upon the summit of the mountains are these other nations, right? Wherever they're shot from, they're gonna have a starting point, they're gonna have an ending point. They're gonna leap over these various locales, right? They're gonna pass right Ukraine. They're gonna pass Russia, right? They're gonna pass the EU. They're gonna go steadily into Babylon, like it says in the Book of Second Esdras, right? The reason why it says leaping, which is required, is because, right? For example, right when it maneuvers, like I'm moving the screen, they're gonna they're gonna maneuver, right, as they're going steadily, right? Joel chapter 2 and verse 6. For before them they shall be paying the people, all faces will gather blackness, which reads, Mapanyawa, Yachayelwa, Imyam, Kal Panyam, Kwabatazawa, Pa'arar, which let's look at that word for black, which is the actual word is Pa'ar, the root, Slakia, which means comeliness, which means redness, to blush. It also means to be ashamed, right? But in this case, it's talking about, right, heat, the heat of the missiles, and the missiles coming to destroy. Strong's H6289, Parar, and the meaning is not dubious. To glow, to flush. So it doesn't actually mean black because the root means beautiful, ornamented. Let's look at the um, Salakia. See if I can get that real quick. It's here somewhere. Nope, that's not it. Here it is. Par. Embellishment. Para. Bow branch shoot. Which that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. Ruddy glow, brightness of face, warmth, right? Just like I said. Salakia, just bear with me. So ruddy, glow, brightness of face. And for that, um, it's like you just put water. It's like water in the nose. You get water in the nose, and you kind of uh, it's like water your nose. You pump it, and you might blush. You know, if you can understand, that is in the sense of blushing, right? Um, so now that's what it's actually saying. That's why it's saying all faces turn. See here it says turn ashen, which not that's not what it's talking about, right? And I believe that's in the Lord's Prayer also. Wahatapa Arath, right? Joel chapter 2, verse 7. Like warriors they shall run, like men of battle, they shall ascend up the wall, and a man in his way they shall go. Which that word ayash, it doesn't mean an actual man, right? Just like it says in the book of Genesis, right? Uh, when Moses got two of each kind, it says ayash and nakwaba, right? Which means and female, but it's talking about a man, an animal, and its mate, right? So it says, so this is denoting just the missile is going to go in its way. Each missile is going to go according to its path, right? And it says, uh, and they will not cross paths, which is why it says, Wala'a ya ibatwan arach thumb. But that word ibata actually means to lend. But figuratively, it means to cross paths. Arach means to journey or a manner of way, manner of life. It's another way to say a path. Just like the rock, it means way, but it also means to tread, right? So it reads ka gabarian, yaratazan, ka anashia, anashia, malakama, ya alwa, hawama, wa ayash, ba darak yawa, yalakwan, wala'a, ya ibatwan, rakhtam. So that last part means and they will not lend to their unto their way, meaning they're not going to intertwine, they're not going to clash because they're programmed via the computer onboard computer to hit their target, right? Joel chapter 2 and verse 8. The man and his brother will not thrust into themselves, meaning one missile will not thrust into another. It's just it's just another way to say, and one will not thrust another, right? A man in his casting up, he will go. That's talking about, right? Gabar means man or warrior, but in this case, it's referencing the missile. Or you can read it as warrior upon its casting up will go. And even upon the missile, because that word shalach means to send out, right? In this case, it's talking about figurative for the missile. And even upon the missile, it's another way to say projectile, right? And even upon projectile, the projectile will fall, and uh, will not break up. Meaning it's going to hit the target, right? It's not going to disintegrate before it hits the target. The X is going to be marked, and that's it, right? The word batazai means to break up, right? So it reads wa ayash achiwa la'a yadachakwan gabar bama salathwa yalakwan wa ba'id hashalach yapalwa la'a yabatazaiwa. The word dachak means to thrust, you know. You got a pretty damsel, you know, or uh, you're on the seventh day, not the seventh day, because that would be sacrilege. But maybe every 5 days, you thrust, or they say in the world, you know what I'm talking about. You know, a little joke there. You know, so this you gotta empty the storehouse. You know, that way you don't get too antsy. Oh, so it says, Wa ayash ahiwa la'a ya dehakwan gabar bamasalat wa yalakwan wa ba'id hashalach yapalwa la'a yabatazai wa. Verse 9 says, In the city they shall rush into it. Upon the wall they shall run. Upon the houses they shall ascend up. Even upon the windows they shall enter like a thief. Ba ayor yashakwa ba hawama ya ratazan ba bathium ya alwa ba'id ha khalawanyum ya ba'awa ka ganab. That word shak, it means to desire or to basically, or shawak, it means leg, or to, it's another way to say to run to, right? Like it says in book of Genesis, that the woman will have the desire towards her husband, right? That word is shawak. It also means to kiss, right? Or to embrace, figuratively, right? So what is this talking about? The ICBM missiles earnestly going into Babylon, America, Babylon the Great, right? They're going to climb upon the walls because they're going to go past these defense systems that Esau Edom has set up, right? They'll run upon the houses, meaning they're going to hit their target, which is America, Babylon the Great, and everything in it. Upon the windows, everything, right, is going to, the Lord is going to, right, bring that spectacle, right? Like a thief, right? Because what does the scripture say that like a thief in the night these things will come to pass, right? As a snare upon the inhabitants of the earth, right? Because the majority are being distracted by false flag events, right? By we saw by the mass media, right? These so-called lockdowns, right? You can't even go out and get the goddamn a sandwich. Well, that was unless there's some damn terrorist following you around, right? So everything's designed. Fear is used as a tactic by the wicked, which includes Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, right? The Ishmaelites, the Arabs, the Chinese, which is Moab, Ammon, the Japanese. Psalms 83 to cut off the remnant from being performing their work, but they can only do so much that the Lord has given them the ability to do. So either way, this word is going to go out, right? You have the Hagarenes, which are the Hamites, the so-called Africans, not the Negroes. It's two distinct clans, nations. You have all these nations. It is a grand conspiracy, right? This is what the scriptures say. But the Lord is, right, letting this word go out in order for the prophecies to be spoken and the judgment to be set forth, right? like it says, I believe that's towards the end of the chapter, which is let's get that real quick. The end of the chapter states that it says, verse 11, and the Lord shall utter his voice before his army. For his camp is very great. His voice is what? The servants of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Right? Before his army, we are his army, right? That great army is the remnant, right? Even these other camps, right? They're called, but they may not be chosen, but they're still, right? The remnant in the sense that they woke up to this knowledge and they're prophesying, but they're just not chosen. So you have the remnant, which are the actual elect. You have the remnant in the sense of a remainder that will wake up, but then you have those that are going to fall out. So you have, right? But ultimately, the remnant is those called and chosen. Not to create more confusion, right? And his army is what? His voice is the servants of the Lord. His army is the remnant. His army is the missiles, right? That's why it says great is his camp. It's not just the remnant that are prophesying. It's 2/3. They're doing the bidding of the Lord. Esau, Edom. Everything works to forward prophecy, which is why it says, because he is mighty that executeth his word. Who is doing that? Those that are called and chosen, right? Which is what? Executing his word involves keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, having faith in Hamashiach Yahushai. So you call Jesus Christ, not Yeshua, not Yehoshua, Yahushai. Ha-Mashiach, Yahweh is the Most High God's name, not Jehovah, not Yahuwah, Yahweh. Right? That's what it's talking about. Strong that executeth his word. That great terrible day, right? But anyways, verse 10 says, before them trembles the earth, quakes, the heavens, or the heavens quake, the sun and the moon is turned unto blackness, is darkened, basically. And the stars are gathered, and they're glistening, right? As in they withdraw their brightness, right? So it reads Lapanyawa, Ragaza, Rataza, Ra'ash, Wa, Shemayim, Shamash, Wayarach, Wadarwa, Wa Kawakabium, Sabwa, Nagaham. That word Naga just means to glisten. The Lord is going to shake the earth, shake the heavens. The sun, the moon will be darkened. Why? Because of nuclear fallout. Mushroom clouds, which it's going to mention, I believe, in the next verse. The heavens being rolled away as a scroll, right? Like it says in the book of Isaiah. So verse 11 says, and the Lord will place his voice from before his army, which is the servants of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? So we are his voice, but the voice, he's really our voice because it's written in the word what these how these things would come to pass. So we are really, it's not our voice, it's the voice of the Lord. The Lord is roaring to us, pulling down all strongholds, right? Through the power spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Wa Rakak Wadash, which is the Holy Spirit, the divine inspiration, the Lord's counsel, which is going to be performed in these last days. The last days means the end of one kingdom and the beginning of another, right? So it says, because great is exceedingly his camp, because mighty is he that doeth his word. Starting with the elder apostle to Harden on down, Great Bill Stone, Hebrew Israelite camp. So it says, because great is the day of the Lord and fearful exceedingly, and uh who will endure it, right? Who is able, right? Because that word yakal means to be able, right? It's another way to say endure, right? So it reads, Wa Yahweh Nathan Kwalwa Lapanya Chayalwa Kaya Rab Ma'ad Machana Wa Kaya Itazawam Asha Dabarwa Kaya Gadol Yawam Yahweh Wa Nara'a Ma'ad Wa Maya Ya Kayal Nawa. Verse 12, and even now, saith the Lord, return back even unto I with all your heart, and in fasting, and in weeping, and in lamentation. Wagab Aitha Naam Yahweh Shabwa Adiyah Bakal Labab Kub Ba Tazawam Wa Ba Tazawam Waba Bakia Waba Masapad. Verse 13, rent your heart and not your garments, and return unto the Lord your God, because gracious and merciful is he, slow to anger, and of great loving kindness, and repenteth upon the evil. Right? Not like them reprobates at Great Millstone Boston Camp, right? Which they say all nations can be saved, right? When they don't need to be saved, right? We need salvation, right? You other nations have your reward, right? So this precept you can compare it to, right? When Paul the Apostle said that a Jew is one inwardly, right? The book of Deuteronomy says that you will look at your fringes and not go after the horn after your own heart, right? So it's not about the garments. It's not about, right? The Lord wants you to receive the understanding, repent, right? Mourn for your evil doings, right? It's not about being a super Hebrew Israelite. You got the damn uh you got the damn turban on and you're walking around looking crazy. That's not what it's talking about. That's what these other camps promote, the outward appearance. Where's your fringes? Where's your fringes? And it was never about the fringes. It was about seeking the old paths, right? So it reads Wa Korai Wa Labab Kum Wa Al Bagad Yakum Wa Shawab Wa Al Yahweh Allah Yakum Kaya Hanan Wa Raham Hawa Arak Abium Warab Hasad Wa Naham Al Ha Raya. So that's why the Lord said, rent your hearts, not your garments, right? Verse 14 says, who knoweth if he shall return and repent and remain caused to leave after him or remain after him a blessing, an offering, and a libation unto the Lord your God. Maya Yadai Yashawab Wanaham Waha Sha'ayar Haryawa Baraka Manacha Wanasak La Yahweh Allah come. What is that talking about? Well, what does it say? What did Yahweh Shai said? He said that what there would be you would give a drink to one of these least ones, and your reward will not fail. Right? He who receives a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. That's just talking about these particular lots, particular men, right? Which are given a an understanding, or maybe they just do exhortation videos. You're filling your work, right? You don't always have to be the main guy. You don't always have to be right that elder that is always mentioned, right? Sometimes you just gotta play your part, right? That's talking about one receiving the understanding and then bringing another individual to the truth, right? And what do they leave behind with their whatever action they did? You may make an exhortation video, and another brother will receive it. That's what it's talking about. Because these the work that we do, they're compared unto offerings that we make to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? Which turns into a blessing into those that receive the understanding. And then that offering, we leave it. They may receive something from what we have produced, and they produce their offering and libation unto the Lord. After they come into the truth, they get built up, right? That's what it's talking about. Joel chapter 2 and verse 15. Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, proclaim a solemn assembly. The Kwaiwa, Shapar, Ba Tazayawan, Kwadashwa, Tazawam, Kwaraawa, Atazara. Says, gather the people, sanctify the assembly, gather the elders, gather uh, the young ones, and those that suck the breasts. Let he go out, may he go out, the bridegroom from his chamber, and the bride from her closet. Which reads Asapwa Aim Kwadashwa Kwahal Kwabatazawa Sequanium Asapwa Alalium Waya Waya Nakwaya Wayanak Wayanakia Shadium Yataza'a Khatan Mahadarwa Wa Kala Mahapatha. Right? Kwahal means assembly. Ilal, it just means it's another way to say um, a young animal, right? Babes, right? Those that give suck to the breasts. Now that's not really that deep. It's talking about, you know, you may have a particular sister that comes in to this understanding, and her child is with her. You know, just talking about the elect that's going to come in various ages, right? Shapes, forms, and colors, right? The bridegroom is Yahushai. The bride is the elect, which it says that word machap. It just means closet, right? So we are many things. We are spiritual finishers. We're spiritual, judge spiritual things with spiritual things, right? We're spiritually pregnant, spiritually giving labor right now, right? Because as we're pushing the word, right, the Lord is bringing more judgments, more plagues, more famines, right? And we're spiritually, right, in this case, coming out of the closet. No homo. Because what? The Lord is revealing the remnant with His truth, with the word going out. The remnant waking up to the fact that they are Israelites. The truth being made manifest, right? The word being preached. Like it says in the book of St. Luke, right? The word is preached and we're pressing into the kingdom, right? Which is why we gotta have that spirit to keep pushing out these lessons, right? Like it says in the book of Isaiah, right? The exile captive hasteneth that he may be loosed, that his bread may not fail, right? Because the Lord is giving us the tools right now to do these lessons, to go out and prophesy, right? Right? These things are not going to be here forever, right? Now is the time, right? Especially in 2024, right? The year of, like Elder Apostle Har coined, the year of Jacob's trouble, the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble, right? Which would be Ha Machasa, meaning hopeful, the hopeful uh, year Shanya of Jacob's trouble. Why Yaquab Yaquabia trouble would be Tahala Matahala, I believe. Let's just type that in. So that word is Bahala, So it would be Ma Bahala. Right? The book of Second Ezra says that what? If the bride is prepared, is shown unto all. Right? Verse 17. See how many more verses we got? I believe it's 32. Verse 17 says, between the porch and unto the altar may they weep the priests, the ministers of the Lord, and may they say, save, O God, upon your people. But the word hasa actually means refuge or hope. Basically, it says, and they may say, place hope, O Lord God, upon your people, and do not give your inheritance to reproach, to a proverb upon them, the nations. For how shall they say amongst the people, where is their God? Which reads Bayan Ha Awalam, which means porch. Wala Mazabach Yabakwa Ha Kahanyam Masharathia Yahweh Waya Amarwa Chasa Yahweh Al Aimka Wa'al Tathan Nachalatka La Harapa La Mashal Bam Bama Wayam Lama Ya Amarwa Ba Amayim Aya Allahayaham. Right? The altar is what? Where you place your sacrifice, right? Doing the lessons, the sit downs, going out on highways and byways, Matthew 22 and 9. The porch is what? Those that are seeing the lessons, receiving the understanding, right? Whether you're out on highways and byways, pass by, right? Or you go on YouTube and find us in the videos. We're the ones crying out loud, sparing not, Isaiah 58, right? We're pleading for the remnant, right? We're saying unto Yahweh Shem Shai to make your judgments manifest. That's what we do when we throw up the prayers, right? We say Yahweh Shem Shai, preserve the remnant, destroy the nations, and make your judgments manifest, right? Amen. Verse 18. And he was jealous, the Lord, unto for his land. He was compassionate upon his people. Waya kwana Yahweh la ratazawa wayahamal al aimwa. Joel 2:19. And he answered the Lord, and he said unto his people, behold, I will send unto you unto the corn, unto and the new wine, and the oil, and thou shalt be satisfied, and I will not place unto you any more for reproach amongst the nations. What is that talking about? When Jake was slowly taken out of captivity, right? The 1800s, right? When these uh, fucking devils put yokes of iron right upon Jake. when the damn Spaniards, which are Edomites, which are so-called white people, right? And white is a color. The Lord is not dealing with color. We say that because we're telling you who is the wicked and who is the righteous, right? You got some Israelites that look like so-called white Chinese, right? That's the mystery of the Gentiles, right? The gospel is the volume of the book, which is now being broken down, right? So yeah, we say, right, these damn devils, 2/3 of our people are devils. So devils come in all shapes and sizes, colors. You got brown devils, you got black devils, you got white devils, right? Some of them are heathens, some of them are our people, but they're not in their right mind, right? So, but what is this talking about? This is talking about the Lord slowly taking Jake out of captivity, Jake prospering, coming up in the world, right? Which you see today, which is why these devils are mad, right? Because they see, uh, they see even these other nations, they're standing upon their feet, getting more and more established. You got China, you got Russia, you got, you know, particular countries in Africa, right? The weak are saying they are strong now, right? Which is why the elites, the Rothschilds, they have to cause division somehow, right? But we see through their devices, we see through that deception, right? So that's what it's talking about, right? But it's also talking about this truth, right? Which is this word is compared unto wine, to oil. Song of Solomon, uh, it says that I prepared my honey with my wine, with my milk. King Solomon said, "Eat, friend, eat," meaning this truth. It says the same in the book of Isaiah. Buy bread without money, which is this is spiritual bread, this is spiritual water, this is spiritual wine. Wine is doctrine, right? The abundance of this truth being understood, being the edification going out, right? So it says, Waya'an Yahweh, Waya'amar, La'imwa, Hanaya, Shalach, Lakam, Atha Hadagan, Waha Tayarash, Waha Yatazahar, Wa Shabaitam, Athawa, Wala'a, Athan, Athakam, Iwad, Harapah, Bagawayim. Joel chapter 2, verse 20. And uh, to the northerner I will cause to go afar off from upon you, and will drive away unto and I will drive them away unto a land dry and desolate, to face unto the sea of the east. Salakia. Let me go back right here. Which reads Wa'atha Hatazapanya Arachayak Ma'al Yakam Waha Tachatyawa al tazaya, meaning dry. Wa Shabah Ata Panyawa al Hayam Hakwadanaya, to the EC, right? And will gather unto the sea his hinder part, which reads Wa Sapwa al Hayam Ha Haran, and will send up his stink, and will ascend up his distaste, his ill savor, because great, because of his great doings, right? Now it doesn't actually say Northern Army, which is what the translation says, right? Um, so that's talking about Esau, right? Northern Army, Northern Country, right? It's also talking about the nations, right? Barren and desolate. You got Ishmaelites over there, still stoning people and shit like that. So-called Arabs, and you got the heathen still eating shit sandwiches on their side of the earth. Then the hinder part. This is actually talking about Esau, right? Starting from Edom, right? And then throughout time, the uh, the hindermost of the nations, the hinder sea, right? Eventually establishing himself on this end of the earth, right? And it's also talk about the nations, right? So the ill savor, the great doings, right? The filth of these heathens, the filth of Esau Edom, his things that he has done, right? That veil being cast away, right? Which is through uh the servants of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? This word going out. So it says, Wa'ala ba'ashwa wa ta'al tazachanathwa kaya hagadyal la aishath. That word for ill savor is tazachana, or simply tazachan, or tazachana, which is feminine form, or tazachan, which tayam means tasteful. Tazachan is distasteful. Just like that word yarad, like I did the lesson in the previous video, it means to bring down, right? Irag means to ascend, to bring up. Right? You bring up an old argument, right? In that sense. Verse 21 says, Do not fear, O land, be joyful and glad, because great things has the Lord done, right? That doesn't mean it's going to be all nice and the Lord is going to bring, Yahushua is going to return and, we're going to skip into the kingdom of heaven. No, that's not what it's talking about. The Lord is bringing fire to the earth. He's going to scorch the earth. World War III. He's going to bring martial law, FEMA camps. the charagma, Revelation 13:16, right? Great death, right? So it reads, Al Taya Ra'aya Adama Kayalya Wa Shamachya Kaya Hagadyal Yahweh La Aishath. Verse 22 reads, so the Lord is saying, fear not, right? Verse 22, do not fear beasts of the field, because the grass of the abodes of the wilderness, because of the tree that bring it that lifts up its fruit, the fig tree and the vine that giveth its riches, right? That's just talking about the utter darkness that the Lord is bringing. That light is the remnant that are waking up and ultimately will get delivered, right? And that's also talking about the Holy Land. So eventually, the Lord's going to because right now it's desolate, but then, right, when the remnant get delivered, placed back into their own land, that's going to be the new center of the earth, the new Garden of Eden. All that is going to be for a sign and a wonder. That wilderness being turned into a uh, a fruitful garden. So it reads Al Tayara'awa Bahamath Shadia Kaya Dasha'awa Na'awa Madabar Kaya Aitaza Nasha'a Paryawa Ta'ana Wagapan Nathanwa Hayalam. Because when the Lord delivers the remnant and they receive spiritual power, they're back in the Holy Land. We're going to be for the healing of the nations after 1,000 years in hardcore captivity, right? So we're going to put a foot up your nation's asses, but you're going to learn righteousness, right? So that's kind of twofold, right? Because not only the land is going to be healed, the earth is going to be healed. The people, right? So this chapter is kind of deep, right? Because talk about the filth of the nations, right? The Lord is saying, you filthy goddamn heathens, right? And it's no excuse. Your excuse can't be, well, the Lord did it. I didn't do it, right? You're a filthy heathen and you worship rats. And some of you heathens are just like Ammon, Moab. You're eating damn rat soup, cat soup, bat soup. You heathens are off as hell. You got a mocking demon on you. Goddamn devils. Verse 23, and the sons of Zion will be glad and rejoice in the Lord their God, because he will give unto them unto the uh, uh, the early rain, which that word for early rain is or former rain, mara'ah, moderately, which that word is tazadaka. That word marah means teacher or teaching of righteousness. And the former rain means what? That towards the beginning of the year you get some rain, and then towards the end of the year you get the latter rain, right? The former rain is us receiving the word, the prophecies, preaching, right? The latter rain is when all things that we have said come to pass in its entirety, right? The latter rain in the first month, right? Because what does the scripture say? The last will be first, right? That new beginning, right? It, Israel was the last nation to be created because we're going to be the first. We're going to get the first dominion, like Yahweh Shem Yahushua said in the book of Micah. So it says, I will give unto you to the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down unto you showers of the former rain and latter rain in the first month. This just says in the first. So it reads, Wabanya Tazayawan Gayal Wa Shamachwa Ba Yahweh Allah Yakam Kaya Nathan Lakam Atha Ha Mara La Tazadaka Wa Yarad Lakam Gasham Mara Wama Lakwash Ba Ra'ashan. Verse 24. And will be full the threshing floors with grain, and shall be watered the vats with new wine. Because that word yaquab, it means new a vat, where you press wine, where you press the grapes, and oil. Wa mala'awa ha garanath bar waha shayakwa ha yakwabium tayarash wayatazahar. Right? That's just talking about, right, the Lord making the earth fruitful again, right? Making Jake, right? Jake is gonna be all right because you still got particular other tribes like South America. You know, they're 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 not really doing that good. Like in here in America, Babylon, great. You know, even here you got certain Jake, you know, struggling. So, like I said, it's not always that deep, right? Verse 25 says, "And I will recompense unto you unto the years which has eaten the locust, uh, the palmer, the cankerworm, and the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, um, by the army great, which I will send upon you." Right? This is talking about the restoration of Israel, right? That great army is what? The chariots coming to deliver the fathership. Yahushua is going to return and beam up the elect, all of them. It's going to be a huge fathership, right? So it says, wa shalom taya lakam ata hashanyam ashar akal ha araba hayalak waha chasial waha kazam hayalya hagadol ashar shalachtaya bakam. Verse 26. And you shall, and surely thou shalt eat and be satisfied. You shall praise unto the name of the Lord your God, which will do with you wonders, and will not be ashamed. My people, uh, um, for forever. Meaning, my people will never be ashamed, right? Because we're justified in our sayings, right? Yeah, we went through our captivity, right? And we're right, like Scripture say, he that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved, right? We're right. The Lord is going to make us earn the kingdom, right? And this truth ultimately is just mind blowing when you think about it, right? Because it's the last thing, the fourth quarter, and then you a jump shot, right? That's how this truth is coming in, right? At the right time, right? So it says, Wa akal thumb, akal wa shabai, wa halal thumb, ata sham Yahweh, Allah yakam, ashar aisha, I'm come, laha pal ya'a, wa la'a, yabashwa, I'm ya la I walam. Verse 27, and thou shalt know because in the midst of Israel am I, and I, the Lord your God, I am the Lord your God, and there is none even, and will not be ashamed my people ever, basically. Wa yadai thumb kaya bakwarab yasha'ala anya wa anya Yahweh Allah yakam wa ayan iwad wa la'a yabashwa imya la iwalam. We know that the Lord is with us, right? Because there's particular things that, right, we go through and, right, we think, man, this might be it, right? But then we remember that it's not, we don't, there's no way we can give up at this point because we have a job to do, right? So, right, that's true repentance is turning back and pushing to the mark, right? So verse 28, which here it's turns into another chapter, says, and it will come to pass afterwards, so I will pour to my spirit upon all flesh, and will prophesy your sons, your daughters, your elders will dream dreams, your young men will see visions they will see. Wahaya Harya Khan Ashapak Atha Rakaya Al Kal Bashar Wa Naba'a Wa Panyakam Wa Banat Yakam Zakwan Yakam Halamath, Ya Halamwan, Har Yakam, Chaz Yanath, Ya Ra'awa, right? So like I said, it's not always good visions that the Lord brings, right? Sometimes you know, you may go to sleep and then all of a sudden you got a damn uh, demon trying to pull you by your back, right? So when he says he's going to pour his spirit in all flesh, meaning he's going to make his counsel manifest, right? That doesn't mean the heathen are going to, have the Rakak Wadash. This is just talking about the Lord performing his counsel. And the 2/3 going in their lot, the remnant going in their lot, right? Or you may see particular visions, right? Me personally, I've seen a chariot before and other things, which I'm not going to go into, but and these are all manifest tokens of the Lord, uh, right? Revealing His will, right? Verse 2, what is that? 28, 29. And even upon my servants and upon the handmaids, in the days they, in the days they, I will pour into my spirit. Wagam al ha'ibadium wa'al ha'shapachath ba'yamayim ha'hama ashapak atha rakaya. What is that talking about? Jake being in the fields. The Lord didn't wake us up right away, right? We had particular Jakes that were in the fields, but the Lord, that spirit still lingered, right? Like it says in the book of Malachi, right? When Jake would sing to the Lord, swing low, sweet chariot. And even today, you got particular rap songs, just Jake knows that there's a higher power, right? You can hear it in the music. Not the music today, because now all music's trash. Movies, the old movies, because that was that spirit working inside Jake from back then even unto today. Verse 29, or what is that? Verse 30, and I will make wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. Wa nathathya, mapathium, bashamayim, waba ratazah, dam wa'ash, watha wathaya marath, Aishan, because that word thaya marath, it actually is talking about mushroom clouds. That word literally means mushroom cloud, because the root is the mar, it means a palm tree. Has the same shape of a so-called pillar of smoke, like it says here, right? So that actually says mushroom cloud of smoke, Aishan, right? Because when the sun rises, what does it look like? It's red. The sky turns red, right? The sky is gonna match America Babylon the Great, right? Because it's gonna be a lake, literally a lake. It's gonna look like a lake of fire. The wonders in the heavens is that's going to be the wonders in the heavens. The pillar of smoke, the right, the creatures of the sea dying, everything. The Lord scorching the earth, basically, right? Joel chapter 2, verse 4. And the sun will turn into darkness, and the moon unto blood uh, before it comes the day of the Lord, which is great and fearful. First it was the sun, now it's the moon, right? Because the sun is going to be darkened. You're going to have a particular time when the Lord destroys America, Babylon Great, and the sun's going to come out, but you're going to see the sky is going to be covered with smoke because of the nuclear fallout. The moon is a reflective, uh, right? It has its own light, of course, but right when it sets at night and when the Lord scourges, or torches America, Babylon the Great, it's going to reflect off the moon. Whole continent is going to be turned into fire. So it says Hashamash, Yahapak, Lachashak, Waha Yarach, Ladam, Lapanya Ba'a, Yawam Yahweh, Hagadol, Waha Nara'ah. And here's the grand ending. Verse 32, and it will come to pass all that call in the name of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, will be delivered, because upon Mount Zion and in Jerusalem there will be deliverance, like which he has said, the Lord God, and upon the remnant which the Lord will call. Right? What is that talking about? It's talking about Zion, Jerusalem, northern, southern kingdom, the remnant, Isaiah 11:11. There's going to be a small remnant throughout the whole earth that will survive World War III. We're going to go and pick them up and then bring them back to Jerusalem, right? But first, you got to have Jacob's trouble, martial law, FEMA camps, World War III, world economic collapse, central bank digital currencies. All roads lead to the Charagma, Revelation 13:16. Bashem Hamashayak Yahushai, right? So it says Wahaya call Ashar Yahquara'ah Bashem Yahweh Yamalat Kaya Bahar Taziyawan Waba Yerushalayim Tahaya Paliata Ka Ashar Amar Yahweh Waba Sharyadim Ashar Yahweh Wara'ah. So with that, this is Joel chapter 2, going into the Hebrew. It's Brother Yatazadak Hero Israel. And as always, Lord willing, you're edified, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Mekakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone. Kwame Yasha Allah, Abad Babal, and Shalom.